Greg Cody, I wanted to ask you before we throw it to Amin, your thoughts on what happened with Kyler Murray, the homework clause, and then I was surprised that the disrespect was so profound that the Cardinals pulled the clause and with a statement that says it was clearly perceived as in ways that were never intended. And
ridiculous.
As a statement, that seemed amazing to me.
How could it be perceived as anything other than you were basically telling the star of your team, you're either not smart enough or you're not working hard enough? It means the implication is one of those two things, at least in public perception, if not in reality. Just a great mistake by the franchise.
But then to pull it back and eliminate the clause once you've got it, I mean, and it can put the thing into default. What were your thoughts as an executive?
Blew my mind that they would capitulate to public perception on a contract clause that was negotiated and agreed to. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, but it looks... Who cares? The kid signed it. His agent told him to sign it. It's unbelievable that people would have an issue with this. If it's that bad of a clause, then the kid wouldn't have signed it.
Maybe his agent signed it for him.
We didn't sign it for him. You don't sign it for him. No,
but maybe the agent knew more about this clause than Kyler did. I don't know how closely players read contracts.
So aren't you in essence doing worse than what the Cardinals allegedly did? Like you're insulting the intelligence of Kyler Murray that he wouldn't even read his contract and know what's in it? If the allegation is to put a homework clause in there means you're insulting his intelligence, isn't the allegation that he didn't read this freaking contract the same kind of thing?
Was Kyler Murray upset by it? Did he feel it was disrespectful?
Yes.
Okay. Isn't that enough reason to say, you know what, this was a bad clause, let's get rid of it?
Is Kyler Murray a fringe NFL player? I'm sorry. I know I'm not a football specialist. Is he a fringe NFL player? If I don't sign this deal, well, maybe there won't be a home for me. Or is he one of the exciting young quarterbacks in this league who has a ton of options and would have no shortage of suitors if he were on the market? The reality is this is a negotiation. People put things in contracts that are to be negotiated, and everything is negotiable in it, right? So the idea that somehow, by the way, also, why would they put that clause in there? That not for a rookie, not for someone they just drafted who they don't know, someone who's been in their building for a couple of years now. They put that clause in there. Why would they do that?
I would guess it's because Kyler Murray maybe has a history of not doing enough film study on his own. But that's something that needs to be private between the club and the quarterback, not put out there in a contract.
So that's the interesting part. It's not that they put it in the contract, Greg. It's why do we know? Why was that publicized? Why was that leaked? Because I don't know the details of Tom Brady's contract.
Right.
I don't know the details of Aaron Rodgers' contract. I don't even know the details of Ryan Tannehill's contract. Why do I know the details of his contract? That was leaked by somebody. Whom? We don't know. Might have been the team. Might have been the agent who was pissed that his client demanded to sign it because he was scared or whatever. I don't know. But what I'm saying is the existence of the clause, there's nothing wrong with that because it's negotiated and because it's addressing something that clearly was a concern. The part where the Cardinals are like, Twitter was mad and they had to pull it back, that's even more insane to me than even having it in there in the first place.
The quote, it was clearly perceived in ways that were never intended. What am I missing? What could it possibly be that they're trying to say with that sentence?
Why would they care?
Well, perception does matter.
No, it doesn't.
Kyler came out and had a press conference where he lamented it after agreeing to the clause.
Okay. All right. And?
People were making assumptions.
By Thanksgiving, do you think it's an issue still?
No, I think it goes out. That was attributed to July.
So sometimes people are going to react to stuff that they don't know enough about. Again, they put that clause in there. It's not because he's a black quarterback, because there have been plenty of black quarterbacks who haven't had that clause in their contract. It's not because they don't know him, because he's been there a couple of years. They put it in there for a reason. They argued for it, they fought for it, and they won the argument. That's it. Case closed. He's happy, he's not happy. That's his deal. This is the NFL. Deal with it. The idea that they would be swayed by public reaction to a privately negotiated contract is insane to me.
I get what you're saying as somebody from, and this is something that's happened on air with you recently, where there have been a handful of times where you've looked up and I'm like, oh, okay, I've arrived at an age where I'm looking at things the way they were. Young player, that important, gets his feelings hurt and takes down his social media with the Cardinals, and now comes out in a way that adds fuel to the fire right at the start of signing that contract. Yeah, organization betrayed me, joke, disrespect, didn't do team player stuff. That's a different athlete for a different time who doesn't care very much what you, the executive, thinks. Don't hurt his feelings that way. He's the star of your team. You've insulted him.
Okay.
You've treated him as not he's your star, and whether you think it's sensitive or not, he's still your star. And it appears that it bothered him.
So, again, was he bothered by the clause, or was he bothered by the publicity around it and what people were reacting and was like, hey, that's a good point. They are making me. Is that what happened? Or is it because here's the deal. Here's another scenario for you. Hey, Kyler, here's the deal. We're going to pay you $200 million, whatever. By the way, we want you to do 4 hours of homework. And he says, this is bullshit. Hey, the Cardinals go on Twitter, on Instagram. They're offering me a deal that's insulting my intelligence here. That's what someone who is empowered and a modern-day athlete who is insulted would do. They would immediately reveal the insult. They wouldn't say, oh, you got a point. Give me that pen. This is unfair. Why'd you sign it? Why'd you sign it? And by the way, and let's just assume that he didn't know or whatever, right? And he signs it, and after he signs it, he figures it out, and now his feelings are hurt, and we have to care about his feelings.
Well, it's a story because it became public.
It became public,
right.
Absolutely. But the hurt feelings and that you have to care about his feelings. I'm not like a Neanderthal where I'm like, just get in line. Business is business. But also, when you go down that line where you are worried about the feelings of your star player for a contract that he signed not years ago, a week ago, when you go down that's how you get to Kyrie and Kevin Durant. That's the land you've landed in. Where it's like, just don't be mad. Don't be, sometimes people have to have their feelings hurt. Sometimes they got to be mad. Sometimes they got to just deal with stuff that didn't break in their favor. We can't be in the business of continuously trying to placate athletes, right? I'm not saying it's got to be run like the military.
But I mean,
the opposite.
In that
extreme
situation, most quarterbacks take one for the team. And the culture of what football's always been, that insult, the quarterback does not make it worse by being hurt feelings in public. And it's a new age. Like, that's not who your quarterback is anymore.